gets it. He tells him, he says, it's up to you where you're going to go. The girls have no idea what to do. He said, go get the bolt cutters for the phone and phone wires and fences. And Tech's like, I don't know. I'm a little messed up, Charlie. I don't know where I'm supposed to go.
Let me just say, all right, now, what's the difference between a house and a tent? One has a door, right? And what's the difference between like a normal house and like a gas station? What is a gas station? I hate to say this, but you're hovering 8 inches off the ground right now, and what I'm gonna need you to do is to focus. Tex, get out of that tree, Tex.
Yeah, and Manson, he just pretty much tells us, he's like, come on, Tex, you've been a lot of these rich guys' places. He's like, yeah, just go someplace like where Terry used to live.
Right.
And
this
talking about Terry Melcher, so with just an offhanded comment, where it's just like, yeah, like fucking, I don't know, Terry's place or something. With an offhand comment like that is how Sharon Tate and all of her friends were murdered.
Terry should have signed him.
That is also the Manson's version of the story. And the Bugliosi version of the story is that he came in, it was bump, bump, bump. He ordered everybody. He said, tonight's Helter Skelter night. We're going to Terry Melcher's house, and we're going to get revenge for him not producing my record. Mm-hmm. What I do also believe... Oh,
that is insane.
It's not only insane, it's also easily unproven because Manson knew that Terry Melcher didn't live there anymore. He had gone to the house...
To go look for money like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, when he was going around trying to look for his money, he went to the house where he thought Terry lived, and the groundskeeper is like, he doesn't live here anymore. Manson's like, give me the address. It's like, I don't know. Of course not.
You are. Then crab human, absolutely not. I will not do that.
Then he robbed the groundskeeper and went away with bags and bags of grass. It was very sad.
This is also where a lot of the people who break down a lot of people who break down the crimes are ignorant of the entertainment business. Yeah. Because they really think that Terry Melcher just kind of heard it and passed in it and that they were not a part of each other's lives. When actually, when you read about their lives together, especially from Dennis Wilson's point of view, Manson traveled around a lot of musical circles and actually got they were listening actively to his music. They thought maybe it was a novelty that they could use, but people who are not entertainment don't understand is that you'll bounce around for months. This is not a simple revenge story.
Right?
No. They want it to be. They want it to be this revenge story, but it's not. It's just I believe that there's something that this is closer to the truth. That it was just like, go to my Terry's house,
I think they were just looking to have something to do that night. And they're like, well, tonight's murder night. Oh, shit. We better plan that then.
I thought it was Taco Tuesday. Man, what day is it?
It's Thursday.
What year is it?
So it takes them about 20 minutes to get everything ready, get everyone together. And that
is record time.
Yeah, that's very quick.
Yeah, and Manson said that he thought back to just 12 hours earlier when he had showed up with his new squeeze. All of this happened in the span of 12 hours.
Where were we at in total time here? A year and 16 months?
About a year and a half, yeah. I'd say like
16,
18 months from the time he got out of prison until this point.
That's the one thing it's still difficult to understand is just how compact and compressed this entire story is.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is when, and Manson, in his own words, he does admit to having responsibility. I mean, he considers himself responsible for the murders, and the fact that he said, I was so much a part of it, I might as well have been in the car with the others, knife and gun in hand. I was the one person who could have prevented that car from leaving Spawn Ranch, but so goes the feeling of power when coupled with hatred.
Yeah. And it is kind of fun.
Also, it just sounds like a young Adolf Hitler's quote as well.
Yeah.
And so the first 5 victims of the official Manson murders happened at 10050 Celia Drive.
Yeah. And you had Patricia Krenwinkel, Big Patty, Linda Kasabian, who had only joined the family the month before.
That is a rough time.
Yes.
That's the worst time. It's like joining SNL during the Billy Crystal years.
Very talented guy, Billy Crystal.
Susan Atkins, also known as Sadie, and Tex Watson, all on their way. The victims, first of all, Sharon Tate.
Do you think anyone farted in the car?
Probably, Ben.
They smelled like farts permanently. Yeah. They were eating dumpster vegetables.
Right, yeah.
So, the victims, Sharon Tate, first of all. Sharon Tate, she was amazingly famous. She was, I'll put it this way. She was famous enough where I was talking to my mom about this last night. My mom was 14 years old when all of this happened. Lived in Jayton, Texas, middle of nowhere in the late 60s. She knew who Sharon Tate was.
Right.
Like
Sharon Tate is also smoking.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Very good.
So her debut...
She's dead now.
Yeah.
She died? How does this story end? Oh, don't tell me Sharon Tate's dead. I love her work.
So her first role was in a film called Eye of the Devil, which was a suspense film about a cult that performed ritual human sacrifice to guarantee a lavish grape harvest.
For grapes?
Grapes, yeah.
It was actually, and it wasn't even for wine, it was for jelly.
Oh, isn't that Concord grapes?
Yep, her second film was a vampire spoof called The Fearless Vampire Killers, a.k.a. Pardon me, but your teeth are in my neck.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
A.k.a. The Dance of the Vampires.
She's dead now, though, right?
Yeah.
Did she die? Oh, I hope she has I think she's going to have a great career.
Yep, and it's while filming this movie, but by the way, the plot is she's kidnapped by a group of vampires and eventually rescued by a bumbling professor and his assistant.
Oh, I love that.
So it's while filming this movie that she meets her future husband, director Roman Polanski, who's best known for Rosemary's Baby, Chinatown, The Pianist, and Pedophilia later on in his life.
That's the other thing, too.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Pedophilia the movie, or the sitcom Pedophilia starring John Ritter there, and
I also like
Charlie
in the
Sheen.
1970s, most actors and directors were like just borderline not criminals. It's like everybody was like you had like Robert Blake running around, and Phil Spector, all these people that literally just beat the shit and threatened violence on every single person around them.
They all got caught eventually, though.
Yeah, and Polanski, of course, was completely shattered by this fucking event. He said that his absence on the night of the murders is the greatest regret of his life.
What was he gonna do?
Die. He wanted to die.
If he was there, we would not have had the incredible Ninth Gate film with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that's a good point. I love everything Johnny does.
And we definitely wouldn't have had Chinatown, which was in '74. And Chinatown was a fantastic movie. But he said in his autobiography, he said, Sharon's death is the only watershed in my life that really matters. And he commented on her murder. He said it changed his personality from a boundless, untroubled sea of expectations and optimism to one of ingrained pessimism, eternal dissatisfaction with life, which caused him to have a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old gymnast named Natasha Kinski.
And Chinatown. Yeah, so that's good. He wrote a hell of a movie and directed it, too.
She was 26 years old and 8.5 months pregnant when she was murdered. Next up was Wojciech Frykowski.
We'll go into what happened there with Sharon Tate. How'd they do it?
We'll get into that.
We're going to get into it?
Yeah.
Okay,
we're not just going to list the victims and then move on.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, because that's very important stuff.
Yeah. Frykowski and Folger. Frykowski was one of Polanski's childhood friends. Abigail Folger was his partner. She was heiress to the Folger fortune. They... it was
the worst part of waking up. The whole joke there. Everyone.
They were at the house. They were at the house because they house sat for the Polanskis a lot, and Sharon was like, "Why don't you stay an extra couple days?"
Oh my.
Next one was Jay Sebring. He was a Hollywood hairstylist, very successful. He learned how to cut hair in the Korean War. He designed the haircuts.
That is very difficult with bombs going off back and forth. You have to be really good at cutting hair.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Henry, what are the odds Jay Sebring, the hairstylist, is straight?
It's 100%.
He was actually Sharon Tate's ex-boyfriend. And
so
was
zero.
madly in love with her until the day, and in fact died defending her. This is a super fucking creepy side story. So this was when Jay and Sharon Tate had both. This is when they were still together. He bought a home in Benedict Canyon, and the house, extremely dark history. Jean Harlow and MGM producers Paul Byrne. Byrne killed himself in the house, and 3 other people would die in later years. One committed suicide, another drowned in a pool, a maid hung herself there. And Sharon says that in 1965, she was woken up in the middle of the night to see a little man by the bed, just kind of hanging out, and she ran.
Charles Manson. Yeah. Still just been like, I'll see you soon. Bye.
Yeah.
And she ran out of the room and down the stairs, and tied to the foot of the staircase, she saw the body of a man with his throat slashed.
And then how did she react?
Oh, she fixed herself a drink and went back to bed.
Oh, okay.
What the fuck else are you gonna do?
I don't know. Freak out?
And the last victim, or the last one we talk about, and the first one to die.
This is just a bad luck guy.
Stephen Parent, he's like 17. He knew the caretaker at the Tate House, this guy William Garrettson. He had come to sell Garrettson an AM/FM radio, a clock radio, because he worked at a fucking electronics. He worked at a stereo store. And Garrettson, the worst part is, he didn't even sell the clock radio. Garrettson didn't want it.
Oh,
so the last thing he did was he died a failure.
Oh, that's the worst.
It's terrible.
Very sad.
So he had a beer while they, talked about the clock radio. He left around 2:15. He stops to push the button that opens the electronic gate. Standing there, Tex Watson got a long-barreled Western-style .22 revolver, the same weapon that they'd shot lots of Papa with. And in the other hand, the big fucking buck knife. Right. Watson shoots him 4 times, point blank in the face, making him the first person to die.
Honestly, in that situation, I'm thinking, shoot me. The idea of getting stabbed and murdered with a buck knife is much more terrifying than just getting shot in the head a couple of times. If I had to choose.
Yeah. If we all had to choose, we'd all go
Tex
for the gun.
Watson's now on a full-on death trip. Tex Watson, we're going to see now, is definitely the fulcrum of all of these murders.
Yeah.
He really got into the role.
Yeah, he really did.
And was technically very good at it.
Yes, he was.
Immediately. For a total dolt.
Yeah.
For a person who's like basically an unreliable piece of shit who could barely think.
Yeah.
Who was tripping balls the whole time.
Yeah, they were all tripping balls. And that's a thing to keep in mind as well, is that at least half of the 4 were tripping balls the entire time this was happening.
So Linda, now these are the murders.
Yeah, Linda Kasabian, she drove them to the house. She was the girl that had only been she'd only joined the family the month before. She parks the car.
And she's the only one with a valid driver's license, and thank God, because they didn't want to get pulled over to get a ticket.
Exactly.
Yeah, they chose her because she was the only member of the family who had a valid driver's license.
Well, you don't want to go breaking the law. I mean, those laws are real. And
so Tex crawls out from the back seat. He climbs up the telephone pole, and he cuts the wires to the house. They then drove the car to the bottom of the hill and started to walk up towards the house.
And what's cool is that they're not cool. I mean, cool. I'm disgusting. Yeah. But it's like they literally parked it so they could make a quick getaway. They parked it at like so it would just be driven off onto the road.
Yeah. So this is where they find Stephen Parent. They kill him.
And he was just
push
like,
the car
"Hey
out of
guys,
sight.
you guys going to like a party or something?" Oh man.